A routine school flight goes down over open water, and the survivors wash up on an island that should be empty. It isn't. Giant butterflies, wasps the size of cars, and parasites that turn people into something else entirely are waiting in the trees. This is the story of Matsuimi, a quiet biology student who becomes the only reason anyone makes it out alive. Act 1. Wash the shore. The story opens calmly at an airport, students waiting for their flight until a stray bee starts buzzing around them. Kamijeo swats it dead without a second thought, but Matsuimi, a gifted biology student, picks up the insect for a closer look, surprising her best friend Chitose with how naturally curious she is even about something so small. The next thing Matsuimi knows, she's waking up alone on an unfamiliar shore, desperately searching for her backpack. Finding it calms her only briefly. She realizes their plane has crashed, and nearby spots a severed human hand still wrapped in blood. Shaken, she runs through the island until she stumbles into Matsuoka, captain of her school's softball club and the first living person she's found. The two share a relieved hug. Matsuoka shows her some items she'd salvaged from an abandoned house nearby, and Matsuimi wonders aloud if the island might be inhabited, but Matsuoka tells her she's found no other signs of life anywhere. Act 2. Regrouping. Elsewhere, 3 other surviving students try prying open a vending machine for supplies. Chitose tries to stop them, but they brush her off, while another classmate, Anu, suggests they should all drink something regardless to avoid dehydration. Meanwhile, Gino, manipulative and self-serving, tries convincing 2 boys to head into the forest for food, and when they hesitate, spitefully lists the skirt of Mami, an idol both boys are infatuated with, just for a reaction. Chitose steps in to shield her from the harassment. Regrouping, Anu points out that given their flight time, it's simply impossible they landed somewhere as remote as an uninhabited desert. The island was clearly settled at some point. Everyone tries their phones, hoping for a signal. Even Chitose's waterproof model comes up dead, GPS included. With no better option, the group follows a nearby road. Anu asks for 5 minutes alone in the tree line, and the moment she steps away, a swarm of giant butterflies bursts violently from the forest. Act 3. First Blood. Anu's screams alert the entire group, including Matsuimi and Matsuoka, still making their way through the woods elsewhere. The butterflies kill Anu almost instantly and turn on Mami next. The 2 boys who adore her rush in to save her, and one of them is killed outright by the swarm, leaving the other frozen in horror. Matsuoka grabs the knife she'd found earlier and charges in to help Chitose, but the blade does absolutely nothing against the creature's hide. It's Matsuimi who finally saves her, using nothing but a lighter and the can of deodorant improvised into a makeshift flamethrower. Badly shaken, the group starts scrambling for any real plan to survive until rescue arrives. A distant noise makes them think, hopefully, that it might be a helicopter. Instead, a massive insect swoops down and snatches Chitose entirely. Matsuimi and Matsuoka want to chase after her immediately, but Gino and Kamijeo object, insisting the group's overall safety has to come first. Matsuimi pushes back, explaining that the creature hadn't killed Chitose. It had only stung her with a paralytic to carry her back to its nest alive. The argument grows heated until Matsuimi finally manages to convince the group's self-appointed leader, Kamijeo, to help with the rescue. Continuing down the road, the group spots a house in surprisingly good condition and decides to check it out, only to realize once inside that it's not a house at all, but a massive wasp nest built to look like one. They start to retreat until a wasp flies past carrying a human body. Kamijeo explodes with rage, recognizing the victim as his best friend, Akira. Seizing the opening created by his fury, Matsuimi convinces him to help storm the nest and rescue both Akira and Chitose together. Kamijeo charges in first and finds his friend. Matsuimi follows close behind, trying to warn him how dangerous the nest really is, but he ignores her completely and rushes to free Akira while wasps swarm around them. Matsuimi spots Chitose nearby, but doesn't have the physical strength to carry her out alone. Kamijeo, still fixated only on Akira, leaves them both behind entirely, until Matsuoka bursts in at the last possible moment and pulls both girls to safety. Back outside, Matsuimi calms the group by explaining that Akira and Chitose can both survive the poison if they're given electrolyte-rich sports drinks in time. Even though her plan works and saves 2 lives, the rest of the group turns on her anyway, furious at how many wasps swarmed the area during the rescue. While searching for the drinks, Matsuimi finally explains why she knows so much about insects in the first place. As a young girl, a strange insect once climbed on her shoulder and startled her badly, until a teacher gently picked up the creature and reassured her that insects aren't inherently something to fear. From that moment on, she threw herself into learning everything she could about them. While Gino needles her over the story, Mommy notices something clinging to her own back. Matsuimi carefully removes it and checks for a bite, then realizes with alarm that the group has wandered directly into a swarm of ticks. Thinking fast, she instructs everyone to move slowly and shift their stance to avoid drawing attention, then throws a stone to distract the swarm. Just as the danger seems to be passing, they spot a badly injured woman stumbling towards them, one of their own teachers brutally mauled by the insects. Horrified, the boys panic, putting the whole group at further risk. Matsuimi makes an agonizing call, letting the ticks focus entirely on the dying woman so the rest of them can escape. After walking through the night, the exhausted group finally reaches a massive hospital with its own helipad. That the doors aren't even locked immediately puts Matsuimi on edge. Inside, she has everyone search for saline to flush the poison from Akira's and Chitose's systems, while Kai wanders off to explore alone. When Chitose refuses to drink the antidote herself, Matsuimi tests it on herself first. Watching this, Kamijeo realizes he'll have to do the same for Akira and takes the same risk. Meanwhile, Kai finds the electrical panel in a computer room and restores power to the building, earning applause. Not only did he get the lights working, he's found enough supplies to shelter safely until rescue arrives. With no insects showing up inside, everyone starts to relax, and Kai even offers to find working showers. Still uneasy, Matsuimi keeps searching the building herself, while Kai stumbles into a laboratory and finds a refrigerator leaking a strange fluid, and is horrified by whatever he finds inside. At almost the same moment, Akira wakes from his coma and Kamijo rushes to his side, but Masumi is far more troubled watching Chitose, who still hasn't stirred. Kai's scream suddenly echoes through the building, startling everyone just as strange noises begin coming from the ceiling. Akira, fully awake now, starts convulsing violently, his eyes bulging unnaturally as he spirals into something closer to madness. Before anyone can stop him, he bolts from the hospital and starts climbing the helipad tower. A terrified Kamijo chases after him, and Masumi warns him that Akira has been infected by a dangerous parasite and has no real control over his own actions anymore. Watching Akira make strange, deliberate signals, Masumi realizes with dawning horror that he's actually trying to communicate with other insects. Almost immediately, an enormous flying predator appears, momentarily distracted by his movements. Kai tries to rush in and help, but Gino chases after him, trying to stop him from doing anything reckless. The creature surges upward and strikes Akira at full speed, ending his life instantly. Devastated, Kamijo is pulled back to his senses by Gino's rough, forceful comfort, and the two of them flee together. Masumi, Mami, and Matsuoka chase after Kamijo and Gino, desperate to get back inside the hospital, only to find Gino has locked the door from within, refusing to let them in and mocking their pleas from the other side. Inside, Chitose regains consciousness in the middle of the chaos to find Kamijo sobbing and realizes, with rising panic, that she's completely paralyzed and unable to move her own body. When she asks where Masumi is, Jino cruelly lies and tells her Masumi is dead. Chitose refuses to believe it and grows increasingly agitated, prompting Jino to order Kamijo to handle her, gagging her to keep her quiet. Still under Jino's manipulation, Kamijo is pushed toward assaulting the helpless Chitose, and Jino herself begins harassing her too, until Kai bursts in out of nowhere and knocks them both out cold with a fire extinguisher. Outside, Masumi, Mami, and Matsuoka fight desperately to survive the predator's continued attacks, protected only by the lobby door it can't break through. Once it finally gives up and retreats, the girls manage to get back inside, relieved to find Kai alive and grateful for his intervention. He explained his earlier scream was simply from something disturbing he'd stumbled onto in the lab, nothing more. Masumi rushes to Chitose and pulls her into a tight, relieved hug. Regrouping, Masumi asks Kai how much control he has over the hospital and tower's lighting. Seeing there's essentially no upper limit, she starts formulating a plan. Determined to end the threat for good, she walks the corridors preparing to risk her own life against the massive insect hunting them since they arrived. Before heading out, she rallies her exhausted friends, asking them to trust her completely. Matsuoka offers to go instead, arguing she's faster, but Mami refuses to let her, and Masumi insists on going herself, reminding everyone she's the only real expert on insects among them. After saying goodbye to Chitose, she sets off alone at dawn, using the same slow, deliberate movement technique she taught the group earlier to avoid detection as she climbs the helipad tower. There, she ties a massive cloth over the floodlights to hide them for now, watching the predator's movements carefully. Once the first phase is set, Kai cranks the floodlights up to maximum using the building's generators. Masumi climbs back down and puts distance between herself and the creature before grabbing a siren. The most dangerous part of the plan is about to begin. Blaring the siren to lure the massive insect into a chase, Masumi runs for her life across the heliport while her friends watch helpless from inside. As the creature closes in, she leads it toward the tower and tries releasing the rope holding the cloth. It doesn't give at first. Climbing higher, she yanks with everything she has left, finally exposing the blinding floodlights beneath. Drawn instinctively to the light, exactly as any insect would be, the creature closes in and Kai slams the power to maximum, electrocuting it almost instantly. The shock is so violent it sets the creature ablaze and fries the hospital's electrical connections in the process. The group rushes out to check on Masumi, who, even after everything, quietly regrets having had to kill it at all. Back inside, Chitose is stunned to learn that Masumi has offered to formally lead the group, insisting she can handle it. Meanwhile, Mami and Matsuoka furiously confront Jino and Kamijo over their earlier betrayal. In the end, Chitose takes on the role of leader herself instead, asking only that Masumi never stop thinking the way she does, carefully, scientifically, always spotting the pattern no one else sees. Masumi tells the group they'll need to abandon the hospital immediately if they want to survive, and that somewhere else on the island they'll find a new place to hide out until rescue finally comes. That's the story of a group of ordinary students dropped into a nightmare no survival class ever prepared them for, kept alive more than once by the one girl everyone underestimated for actually paying attention to the bugs nobody else wanted to look at twice. If you want to see where their fight for survival goes from here, go check out the full series for yourself, and let me know in the comments who you think deserve to make it off that island the most.